Hello everyone, Catweazle here. Welcome back to Eldritch Horror Nephren-Ka Turn 2. Okay, just a couple of things from the last episode. I caught quite a few when I was actually doing the editing, like the reckoning on, it was Hank's hallucination. But another thing I caught was, obviously I was trying to put a monster surge on both gates, but as you can see, the Cairo gate, only it's a green comet. The only one we had to put the monster surge on was the Nile River. So I think it was a cultist and a rat thing. They went back in the bag. The only ones that came out were the first two, which were the Star Spawn and the Deep one. They're both pretty nasty. The Nile River, it's not a very nice place to be. So that was just to explain that. The other thing, there's been a bit of a discussion. Now, Joe used his passive ability to increase his law again. General consensus of opinion is that you can't do that. And what you've got to do is actually put up another skill. So that's fine. So I've put his law back to +1. And the other skill that he's going to put to +1 is his will. So at the moment he's got +1 law, taking him up to 3, and +1 will, taking him up to 3. No harm, no foul. He didn't have a law test, so we'll just backtrack that, no problem. The other thing is good old Monte. Now, there's a bit of a discussion going on BGG about whether we should have took a sanity off him on Nephren-Ka's reckoning. If you remember, it says everybody's got to move towards the bent pyramid. If they do not move towards the bent pyramid, they lose a sanity. Now, obviously, Monterey didn't move because he's actually at the bent pyramid, so he can't get any closer. The consensus in the comments is we shouldn't take a sanity off him. There are key words, for example, like choose. Well, he can't choose because he's already been there. But if you go on BGG, there's quite a few that say you should take the sanity off. Now, Anthony has put in an official request to find out what the SP is on it. I don't think that's come back as the time of me recording this episode. So what we'll do, we'll just leave him as having lost that sanity. If it comes back and they say, oh yeah, it's fine, if you're actually on the bent pyramid you don't lose a sanity, then we'll give him 1 back. But as it stands, he's got 3, so it's not like he's like insanity doer. So for the time being, we'll just take it off, which I did anyway during the game. Other than that, I think that's about it. So let's get back, have a look at the main board. But before we do that, obviously, as we're here, we may as well point out that that's where Monterey is. He's at the bent pyramid. So let's have a quick look at the main board and see where everybody else is. And here we are back at the main board. And everybody else, Hank, Joe and Harvey, they're all in London town. So that's where everybody is. The expedition is still at Buenos Aires, guarded by Ghoul. So that's it for where everybody is. Where about, oh, clues. We've got clues on space 2, space 4 and space 17, as well as the one you've just seen over at the bent pyramid that is keeping Monte company. Okay, right, well, let's move straight into the action phase. And here we are in London. Our first player is going to be Joe. He's already the first player, and because he's cursed, you know, if something bad happens, let's have it to somebody who's cursed rather than sharing the bad news around the team. So he's going to stay first player. What he's going to do is he's going to use his component action. So what he does, he picks 1 out of ally, service or weapon, and he's going to pick weapon. And then he's going to discard 1 of these 4 out of the reserve. So he's going to discard Cat Burglar. We're going to get rid of that and discard it. Then we take the asset deck, which is here, and then we go through it until we find the first weapon. So we'll go from the bottom. Magic Shop, Service, Arcane Scholar, Curiosity Shop, Lucky Talisman, come on, sticky cigarette case, charter flight. Obviously there are no weapons in this deck. Oh, a Colt 45, and it's only a 1. Woo! So put that in the reserve, move these back. So now we've got a 45 Colt, an urban guide, a private investigator, and a secret page in the reserve. And we'll discard these. Oh no, we'll shuffle them back in. So we'll reshuffle. And whoop, it says banging the camera. Reshuffle them back in. And cool, we've discarded Cat Burglar for a Colt 45. What's he going to do for his second action? Well, he quite liked that Colt 45, and it's only 1. So his influence is 3, but he is cursed. He's going to take 3 red dice, and we're going to go for it. See how many 6s we can get. Remember, he only needs 1, so I think it's worth it. Oh, not quite. Now, what he could do is he could take a bank loan. Could take a bank loan, which will give him 2, and he is going to. He's going to take his bank loan, which gives him 2 successes. So let's take a deck condition. So, quick shuffle. First deck condition, there we go. So, he's got a deck condition as well as being cursed, but that does give him 2 successes. And what's he going to get with his 2 successes? Well, he's going to take the private investigator. It's an ally, he'll gain +1 observation, and you may re-roll 1 die when resolving an observation test. So that essentially give him an observation of 5 and a re-roll, which will be very strong once he's not cursed. And thematically, let's just think that this private investigator is like his partner. So he's his partner back at the office while Joe is out and about trying to solve the case of the missing crate. This is his partner back at the office helping him out. So he's got an ally now. Put that up there. So we need to draw, move everything up, and let's draw. And we get the King James's Bible. Item is a tome. You may re-roll 1 die when resolving a will test during a combat encounter. When you perform a rest action, recover 1 additional sanity. So that goes into the reserve. And that is the end of Joe's go. Who's next? Well, it's Monterey. So it's moving everything over to the Egypt board. And here we are with Monte. What's Monte going to do? Well, he's not actually going to move anywhere because we want him to get that clue. I suppose Harvey could use clairvoyance to try and get that clue. But seeing as, well, you know, he's here. He just happens to be here, so he may as well do it. So he's going to rest, so he's going to get 1 sanity back. This doesn't affect, you know, if we end up giving him a sanity back because we've decided not to use what happened on Nephren-Ka's reckoning, because he only goes up to 4. So should we get that sanity back, we can put him straight back to 5. But at the moment, he's back up to 4. So he's done a rest action. Then he's going to do a focus action. So he's now got 2 focus. And he is ready to do a research encounter in the encounter phase. So that is it for Monterey. Let's get back to London. And here we are in London. First thing that Harvey is going to do, because he's our next player, is he's going to do exactly the same as last time. He's going to do his component action. And this time, Joe is going to go up to 4 law. So he does end up getting there in the end. So that's now on +2. And he's on 4 law. Next, Joe uses his passive, and what he's going to do on his passive is he's going to increase his will again, so his will goes up to 4 as well. So he's looking pretty cool. Right, for Harvey's second action, I think rather than... Yes, he's going to use his ancient tome again, I think. He's going to stay in London. And what he does, study the words of the long dead language. He tests law. If we pass, he can spend a sanity to gain a clue. And that's what he's going to do. So I think he's got 3 law. Indeed he has. And he passes. So let's spend that sanity. He's down 4. And we shall pick out a random clue. And we get that one. So he now has a clue. Okay, so that's the action phase for Harv. Next up, it's good old Hank. But we're going to have to reposition the camera a little. And here we are. We've zoomed out a little because he's got a bit of travelling to do as Hank. But before he does his travelling, what he's going to do is he's actually got 2 influence. So why doesn't he give it a go? So he's going to roll 2 dice. I'll move this a bit nearer so hopefully we can see it a bit better. And he gets 1 success, and that's all we wanted. Why? Because now he has taken the Colt revolver. So he's tooling himself up. Once per round you may gain +3 strength during a combat encounter. Woohoo! So he's toughening himself up. He's putting that in with the sledgehammer. Coolness. You don't particularly have to use the sledgehammer now. So he can use the Colt instead. So that's groovy. Okay, we've got to replace that. So let's get the deck and see what takes its place. Treasure Hunter 4, an ally, gain +1 observation and +1 strength. You may re-roll 1 die when resolving a observation or strength test. This Lara Croft here not only is a babe, but she's a fantastic card. We could really do with that. That's a really good card. So put her there. The Urban Guide's pretty good as well. But they do cost 4. So we're going to have to figure out a way to get that much influence. And of course roll that many successes. Right, so Hank's done that. Now what he's going to do is he's going to go on his little trip. First of all, he's going to use his travel action to go to Rome. He's going to extend his travel action with his ship ticket that just dropped on the floor. And that's going to take him to the pyramids. Now he's in the pyramids, in order to get to the Egypt sideboard, I'm going to have to stop calling it a sideboard. Sounds like an episode of Antiques Roadshow. He's going to go to the Egypt board. That's not going to cost him anything. And then he can move along these paths. Where's he going to go? He's going to move along that local path to Cairo. He can do that because that's not actually an action. That's just like free movement. So it doesn't count as a second travel action. So he's got all the way from London to Cairo. Fabulous. What's he going to do in Cairo? He's going to kill this wraith. What's the good thing about this wraith? Well, it's slightly better than its Arkham counterpart. Why? Because it's not physically resistant or physically immune. You can hit it with a sledgehammer, you can shoot it with a Colt 45. Fabulous. Also, Hank doesn't have to do a will test. All he has to do is pass his strength test. Passes his strength test, he doesn't have to do a horror check. If we get 3 damage on it and kill it, we can take a curse off another investigator, and we're going to take that curse off Joe Diamond. So that is Hank. this turn in the encounter phase. If he kills it, he can have a nice trip off world and try and close the gate as well. Come on, Hank. Right, so that's Hank over here in Cairo. I think you just see him. There he is. And that is the end of the action phase. Next up, the encounter phase. And first of all, we're with Joe Diamond. So he's just going to have a normal London encounter. So let's get the Europe deck. Put it the right way up. Give it a shuffle. We haven't used this one before. London. Vernon Kell wants you to work for MI5. You may gain an agreement condition to gain one task unique asset and interrogate a captured deep one. Test will. He's cursed, so I don't fancy testing will. Task unique asset, okay, I suppose, but an agreement for that when I'm cursed already, no chance. So we're not going to do it. So, oh, discarded it wrong. I need to do it that way. Haha, right, done. Right, so that's it for Joe. Nothing bad happened, that's cool. We're counting on Hank. Get rid of his cursed condition, then we'll have him chocolate biscuits. Well, at least till the Mythos phase anyway. Right, let's get across and have a look at Monterey Jack. And here's Monterey. What he's going to do is he's going to do a research encounter for that clue token. So here's the research deck for Nephren-Ka. Whoop. Quick shuffle. Quick cut. And let's see what we get. We're in the wilderness. You attempt to stay hidden while following members of the Brotherhood of the Beast to their ritual site. Test observation. I think he's got an observation of 3. Let's just check. He does indeed have an observation of 3, and he's got 2 focus tokens. Whoop. That was rubbish. Oh, I'll leave that 3, I don't do it that way anymore, do I? What the hell I was doing there? And he passes, thank God for that. DL. 3 dice, they got 1 in. Right, anyway, he's passed, he's got a 5. So, if you pass, oh sorry. If you pass, you see them slaughter a goat and then resurrect it, gain this clue. Fabulous. That's what we like. So we've gained the clue. Let's just discard that. Put that back there. Then we can dig a clue out. Oh no, it's the clue there. So he's got the clue. That's useful. I just want to check Nephren-Ka. Do cultists. Oh no, not Nephren-Ka, it's the bloody... Sorry, it's the mystery. Where have I put the mystery? There it is. If an investigator resolves a location encounter on the Egypt sideboard... Oh, it's only a location encounter, not a research encounter. It's alright, his lore isn't brilliant anyway, but I thought I'd just check that. So, can't do the mystery yet. Could be able to do it next turn. But a good idea might be to give that clue to somebody else with higher lore. Right. So that is it for Monterey. Next up is Harvey Walters, back in London. And here we are, back with Harvey. So what's Harvey going to do? Well, Harvey is going to try and use clairvoyance. So what you can do with clairvoyance is during the encounter phase you may test lore. If you pass, you may choose to encounter a clue as if you are on its space, ignoring monsters on that space. Then flip the card. So he's got a law of 3. He's got 3 dice. And he gets 2 successes. Woo! So we'll put those there, so we remind ourselves we've had 2 successes. And then we can do that in, I think, reading it, we check clairvoyance after we do the clue encounter. If you pass, you may choose to encounter a clue as if you are on its space, ignoring the monsters on that space. Then flip this card. So we've got to do the research encounter first. Right. So which one are we going to choose? We're not going to choose Bombay because that's in quite a good position. The next phase, you know, the action phase after you encounter a clue in Bombay, you'll be able to. You've got a lot of options. You know, you can test influence, all that sort of stuff. However, the ones like the clues on spaces 2 and 4, they're in the back of beyond. They're on wilderness spaces, and it really cuts down your options. So if anybody goes onto one of those spaces to pick up the clue, generally it means next turn during the action phase they haven't got many options. So what we'll do is we'll use clairvoyance to hoover these sort of clues up. So I think first one we'll take is clue 2. Though it's right next to San Francisco, it is a bit awkward to get to. Generally you want to either go to Tokyo or you want to go to San Francisco. You don't fancy stopping off halfway in between. So what we'll do is we'll pick clue 2, which is a sea space, and we'll get the clue encounter deck for Nephren-Ka. We've already shuffled it, so we'll just take the top one and check the sea space. Right, your ship is being tailed. You chart a course using sea channels to outpace them. That is an observation -1. Ooh. Right, I think his observation is 3, so he's got 2 dice. But we are blessed. Remember, we are blessed. I don't think we got a 4. I think we got 2 5s and a 1. So I don't think we got 3 successes. I think we got 2. Come on. Oh, hang on. If he's blessed, he should be using blue dice. What are you doing, Paul? Use the colour code. Come on, Harvey. Ho ho ho! 2 successes. Starman. Oh, need them. Right, so he's got 2 successes. So what does that mean? If you pass, one of the crew is impressed and joins your entourage. Gain 1 character unique asset. So we don't even get the clue. Ah! I hate the way it does this. Right, so we get a character unique asset. Right, the unique asset deck. So let's go from, we want character unique asset. Oh, straight off. Henry Wilcox. Unique asset. Ally character. You and other investigators on your space roll 1 additional die when resolving tests during otherworld encounters. After resolving an otherworld encounter, if you did not close that gate, gain 1 clue. Alright, it's pretty cool. He's a rum looking cove, but let's be honest, this is the sort of guy that flaming Harvey Walters is going to hang around with, isn't it? So he gets that, gets a sort of pseudo ally, which would be very useful, but he didn't get a clue. Right, what's the last thing? Oh yeah, we've got a flip clairvoyance, what I normally forget. So we got 2 successes. What do we get? Let's not say 1 to 2. The knowledge is too great for one mind to contain. Lose 1 sanity. Ooh, brilliant. So I've got a 3+. Suddenly the images and ideas coalesce into a new realisation. Gain 1 clue. Not much chance of getting 3+ successes though, is there? But, you know, we had a chance of getting a clue. We've got a unique asset. It's not that bad, but it's not as good as it could have been. I would have liked to get the extra clue. We'll see if we can get Harvey's Law up somehow. Right. So, but he's still done pretty good. He's down to... We've lost the sanity. Let's put that back. So he's down to 3 sanity. And... they can go back. And this research deck can go back. Put that on with that one. That's back up there. Right, after Harvey, we've got the laugh and chuckles of Hank Sampson taking the Wraith on. Let's see if he can do it. And here we are with Hank. He's actually going to hit it with his sledgehammer. I've just checked the Colt, and that only gives you +3 once per round. So what we're going to do is we'll use a sledgehammer, which gives him +3 anyway. Gives him +1 strength and +2 as a weapon, so that's +3. So it's just the same. He's got 4 strength, so that's 7. As mentioned, he doesn't have to do the will check for the horror because he's Hank. He gets -1 in his strength, so he's going to get 6 dice. And he needs at least 2 successes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And he does get 2 successes, so he doesn't have to do the will check because he doesn't actually lose anything. But he doesn't manage to kill, and he hasn't got a reroll, I don't think. Let's just check. No, unfortunately he doesn't get a reroll, so it's just 2 wounds on the Wraith, which is unfortunate because we wanted Joe Diamond to be uncursed. But unfortunately, we haven't managed it. But not too bad, not too bad. And unfortunately, you can't go into the gate now either because the monster is still there. Right, that's it for the encounter phase. Let's get back. Yep, it's the laugh and chuckle phase. And here we are looking down on both boards. I've managed to get most of it in. So, laugh and chuckle phase. Well, he's not for it, is he? Just let's get on with it. So, here we go. Decks obviously been shuffled thanks to the first horrible Mythos card we got. So we've got no idea what's coming. So let's just flick it over. Oh, we've got another green one. So we've got to move the Omen track. And that goes onto a red sunburst. We've got no red sunburst gates, so normally we get a monster surge, but what it does mean, we do get a gate. We do get a gate. If you don't have a monster surge, you have got to have a gate. So that's a bit of a blow. So got another gate, and it's going to be, I don't know where the other one actually goes to, but it will be on the Egypt board, the Sahara Desert. Now, that's a red sunburst, but it's too late. Yeah, we've already done the Omen movement, so we don't have to take one off the Doom track. So let's get a red stand for it. There it is in Sahara Desert. And what does a gate get? Yes, it gets the Tentacly Bag of Doom. And it gets a monster. So there'll be plenty for Hank to be getting. Oh, Servitor of the Outer Gods. This can't be good, can it? What's this? Can we read that? 3 toughness. Well, we don't have to worry about the will. Not if we send good old Hank up against it. But it's got some weirdness on the strength test. Physically resistant. Damage is equal to the number of gates on the board, game board, that correspond to the current Omen. Well, it's only 1. So that'll be a 1. That's not too bad. It's got physical resistance, but Hank's got 4 strength anyway. So 4 strength to get 3. Oh no, he's got 5 strength, because it is gain 1 strength, his sledgehammer. So he has actually got 5 strength. It's not like combat strength, I think. You guys will tell me that, but I think the sledgehammer gives him +1 strength just on his strength. so it doesn't count as weapon strength, if you know what I mean. So he would have 5 dice to get a bit of a hurting on it, and he only needs to get 1 success because we've only got 1 red sunburst gate on the board. But that's by the by, because he's going to have to stick around to try and kill this wraith anyway. But not as bad as it could be. So let's put him on the Sahara gate. So that goes on the Sahara gate here. And that is the Monster Surge. Come get a gate. Clues. 2 clues. What we could do with is accessible clues. First one goes to the Amazon. That is not an accessible clue. Next one is... whoop. Where's this going? Istanbul. That's a bit more accessible. Move that out of the way. Cool. Okay. So, it was so important, and now you cannot remember what it was. All you know for sure is that it was a matter of life and death, and you had to take action immediately. Forgotten knowledge. Ongoing. When this card enters play, the investigator with the most clues gains an amnesia condition. Oh, who's got the most clues? Well, it's a toss-up between Monterey Jack and Harvey. They then discard all their clues, placing them on this card. When that investigator discards his amnesia condition, he gains the clues on this card and discards this card. Well, that's not so... well, it's not bad, but it's not good either, is it? Right, so who are we going to pick? I believe we can pick. And who would be best to get that amnesia condition? Amnesia, what's the check for that? I'm imagining that would be a will check or a law check, wouldn't it? I think. Harvey has got good will and good law. Monterey, will and law is less. So we're going to give it Harvey. So Harvey's going to put his clue on this card. Going to leave it up here. So we know. So that is Harvey's clue. He's going to get an amnesia condition. I'm hoping I remembered that right. That's madness, isn't it? Yep. Do that. There's one on the top. And hunger, paranoia, paranoia, hunger, amnesia. Madness. When you perform a rest action, you may roll 1 die. On a 5 or a 6, discard this card. But it is test will on a reckoning. So, yeah, perhaps the best person to have it is Harv. So that goes with Harvey. To go with his blessed condition. Plus the fact he's blessed as well. So, oh, mind you, 5 or a 6, it has to be a 5 or a 6. So forget about that. His blessing doesn't count towards that kind of roll. Okay. So we've done that. That's the end of that. That's the end of the Mythos phase. So what happened that turn? Well, unfortunately, we weren't able to get rid of Joe's curse. But Joe took a debt condition and he got himself the ally of a private investigator, which has improved his already stupendous observation. He also improved his will and his law again, thanks to Harvey and his passive, and thanks to Joe's passive ability. So he's now got 4 law, 3 influence, 5 observation, 2 strength and 4 will. If we can get rid of that cursed condition, then fantastic, because he'll be a beast. And we can send him into the Egypt board, and he can start killing cultists, hopefully. After him, we've got Monterey Jack. Monterey Jack, he got a clue. So he did the research encounter, he got a clue. He's got 2 focus. He's got a bullwhip. He's got sealing the old ones. And 4, possibly 5 sanity. So that he did pretty well. Harvey, fortunately, he just got that amnesia condition. But as I say, I think he's the best equipped really to get rid of it. And if we do get a reckoning, I think he's the best equipped to achieve the will check. So, what did he do? He got himself a clue, which he's had to put on that Mythos card. He casted Clairvoyance. It cost him a sanity, unfortunately. But if we have a rest next turn, he can get that sanity back, and he can also have a go at getting rid of that condition. What else? He's still blessed. Oh, and he got Henry Wilcox, a unique asset. He went for the clue on Space 2, but unfortunately the research encounter meant we got a unique asset ally instead of Henry Wilcox. Other than that, he's done pretty funky. Yeah, he did his Arcane Tome, got that clue, and the clue ended up going on there. Right, after him, it's Hank Sampson. Hank, he tried his best, man. He got all the way over to Cairo. This was after he did an influence test and he managed to pick up the Colt 45. Perhaps he'll give that to Monterey. He doesn't need it, he's got his sledgehammer. So he got 2. He got hurting of 2 on the Wraith, which meant he still didn't have to do his will check for the horror because he didn't lose a health. But it does mean he wasn't able to have an encounter and get through that gate and try and shut it, unfortunately. So he did pretty well. Hopefully he can finish off that Wraith next turn and we finally get rid of the curse from Joe Diamond. Turn after. Right, what we're going to do next turn. Because he's still cursed, I think what we'll do with Joe is, 1, we'll get him a ship ticket. Hopefully he won't be cursed for much longer. We'll get him a ship ticket so he can go to the pyramids. And I think we might get rid of one of the reserve things, you know, and try and swap it round. But perhaps not. We might leave what's in there for the time being. And what he might do is, he could have another influence test, but he is cursed. And he has got a debt condition. So he could get a focus. But he'll definitely get a ship ticket, I think, and prepare for getting to the pyramids and causing some mayhem when he's not cursed. So he'll either get a focus or he might do, you know, an influence test to see if he can get one of these reserve items. I don't think he'll swap anything out of the reserve as it stands. Should be okay. Monterey. What's he going to do? Well, he's at the Bent Pyramid. Could he go? Perhaps he could go to Cairo. No, he won't. He won't go to Cairo. There's no real reason to go, really. I was thinking about doing an influence test, but obviously he can't because the Wraith's still there. We haven't killed it yet. He could go to Alexandria and do that. Or he could go to the Sahara Desert. Could reach the Sahara Desert. Could he kill this? -1 on his will. It's physical resistance though, and he's only got a bullwhip, hasn't he? No, we'll probably leave that for good old Hank. What he might do is he might go back to the pyramids on the main board and then to the heart of Africa. Let's get him to Cape Town. Let's find out what this treasure map's got. Yeah, we'll do that because we're expecting to get Joe in to help on the Egyptian board with Hank. So I think we can afford for Monterey. Let's get him to the heart of Africa and then he can move down to Cape Town the turn after and find out exactly what this treasure map's all about. Harvey. I think Harvey will stay in London and he'll do his usual. What can he can, yeah, because we're keeping Joe in London extra turn because of this damn curse, he can do his action, that his component action he's been doing, get him up to 3. Yeah, he can get him up to 3 strength, I think. Get him up to 3 strength, and as his passive, Joe can then increase his influence to 4, and that'll be really good. We need somebody who's got a lot of influence, so he'll be a beast then. So yeah, let's do that. Harvey will do his component action. He'll increase the strength for Joe, and Joe with his passive will increase his influence up to 4. So it'll be 4 law, 4 influence, 5 observation, 3 strength, and 4 will, and hopefully uncursed by the end of next turn, because we'll finally finish that bloody wraith off. For his second action, well, I think he'll rest. Yeah, let's have him resting. He's only got 3 sanity now, I think. Or shall we? No, we'll push it a bit more. He'll do clairvoyance, I think, again. Yeah, let's... Oh no, he'll rest. The reason he's going to rest is we'll try and get rid of this amnesia condition. We'll give him a sanity back and try and get rid of the amnesia condition. I knew there was another reason why I wanted him to rest. So we'll do that. And Hank, what's Hank going to do? Well, he's going to stay in Cairo, and he's going to try and kill this bloody monster. He can't rest, but it's alright, he's only down 1 sanity anyway. But we can try and get rid... Yeah, he can't get rid of his hallucination condition either, because he'd need to rest. He can get a focus, I suppose. Yeah, he'll get himself a focus. He'll get himself a focus. He's really got to kill this monster, to be honest. So let's do that. He'll focus. He's going to lose, you know, one of his actions. But has he got a component action he can do? His component action is test strength. If you pass, discard 1 monster on your space with toughness less than or equal to your test result. Question. This is the straw of questioning. That has only 1 health left, but its toughness was originally 3. Does that mean that he has to get 3 if he does that component action? I might do it anyway, because, you know, he's got now else to do anyway, has he? You know, there's nothing else he can do, so he may as well give it a go. It's not like it's going to, like, reset the health of the monster. But does he have to get 1 success, or does he have to get 3 successes? Are we talking about the original toughness, or the toughness that it's got now? So there's a quick question for everybody. I have a feeling it's the original toughness. But all the same, free roll, he wouldn't be doing anything else anyway because there's a monster there, because he's going to get a focus. He can't get another focus. We don't want him to move. He can't test influence or anything because the monster's there. He can't rest because the monster's there. So he may as well do something, and he may as well try that component action. But I have a feeling he will have to get 3 successes. But he can give it a go anyway, can't he? But if it is 1 success, because he's took 2 health off it, let me know. But I have a feeling it's going to be 3, isn't it? It's going to be 3, isn't it? This is the straw of, like, I'm not very confident. Probably 3. So that's what he's going to do. Unless, of course, you guys come back with a load of better ideas, which is perfectly possible. So that is the end of turn 2 of Eldritch Horror, Nephren-Ka. I hope you join me next time. Thanks very much for all the subscriptions, for all the views, for all the comments, all the tips and the discussion points. Certainly busy comments lately, and please keep them coming. Any sort of input you've got, please just put it below. That'll be fabulous. Yeah, so that's the end of the turn. Until next time, this is me, Catweazle, signing off. Toodaloo.